So the first thing we're going to show you is the trailer from Peter Grimes on the Beach. And so if you want to sing along, please feel free. This is about a minute and a bit long. Yay! Okay, great. So that was Peter Grimes on the Beach, which was an amazing performance on Aldeburgh Beach to commemorate the 100 years of Benjamin Britten, his 100th anniversary. And Low Carbon Innovation Fund were, hang on, let's just find our slides. Yeah, that's me, hang on. There we go, slideshow. From the beginning. Yeah, there we go. And we were given the opportunity to fund the film that was made of the performance. It was a fantastic performance, and the film was also really well produced and really well received. It was longlisted for BAFTA. And we got involved because Debbie Gray, who unfortunately can't be with us tonight, was producing it and found her way to us, heard that we were interested in funding creative industries projects, and after a lot of discussion, I'll talk you through what the fund does and how it affected the production of the film. After a lot of discussion about how the film could be made in a low carbon way, it was made, and we did fund it, and it was everyone was really pleased with it. So, Low Carbon Innovation Fund. I'll just briefly tell you what it is. It's an equity investment fund. That means that we make investments into companies. We're not a grant, and we're not a loan organisation, but they are equity investments into companies to help them grow. And they can be companies from any sector at all. We do have a specific interest in creative industries companies. We've got a specific pot of money to invest into those companies. And we were just lucky enough that the first creative industries investment we made was so successful. But generally we fund new and innovative products, processes or services. So anything that people are doing, that companies are doing, that will have a carbon reduction impact, we want to hear about it. We were lucky enough to be given £20.5 million by ERDF, which they gave to us. We put it in the bank, and we've already invested just under £9 million of that. And us investing our money helps to bring in private co-investors. So we've got a target to reach of £30 million of co-investment coming into the companies that we support. And we're doing really well on that. We're well over our target proportion for that. We also use a fund manager who's on the main fund on the larger investments. So the smaller investment scheme, which is probably more useful to creative industries businesses, makes investments of between £25,000, not £25, £25,000 and £75,000, and we manage it at our offices at UEA, part of the Adapt Low Carbon Group. Usually in the form of convertible loans. It's a technical way of making a loan, but it's still an equity investment. And we usually take about 6 to 8 weeks from the point of having an application come in to sending the money over. all the applications come in through the website. What do we mean by low carbon? I'll get on to Debbie Gray and Grimes on the Beach and what that meant for them specifically in just a second. But generally what we mean is that a company is producing products that will save carbon by using them. They are supplying low carbon services, or they're changing the way they do things to make it much more efficient in terms of resources and energy. They might be developing alternative energy sources, so any renewables, any energy efficiency kind of companies we're interested to talk to. And these are the sort of technical, the eligibility criteria that we have to make sure are matched. It has to be an SME, so that means that you have less than 250 employees and you turn over less than, I think it's 250. It's 50 million euros. Businesses working in the creative industry, science or technology, in fact almost any sector, and you're in the east of England, or you at least have a major impact in the east of England. Not all our companies necessarily are based here, but most of the work they're doing is here. So, Peter Grimes on Aldeburgh Beach. The way that the investment worked was that Debbie Gray and the co-producer that she was working with set up an SPV, a special purpose vehicle, a company specifically to do this project. And that was the company that we could invest in. What was really interesting about this was that they used a carbon calculating tool called Aldeburgh, which had been developed by the BBC and BAFTA. And that helped them to calculate the amount of carbon reduction they could achieve by changing the way they did things. And it was very specific things, like very, very basic things actually, nothing very complicated. Things like catering, things like travel, things like where are your people going to stay and how much travelling are they going to do. The kind of materials that you would use as part of the production. And there were a lot of conversations about, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to achieve these savings? And I think very early on, we said right from the outset, we don't want to impose any conditions on your production that's going to change the way you would produce the film. It's all the peripheral things, like how are you going to light it? Now, if a particular type of lighting is not suitable for the film, we wouldn't ask you to do it that way. But what can be done without jeopardising the quality of the film? So I'll show you another short film where Debbie Gray and Anne Beresford, the co-producer, will talk about what they actually did specifically, and you'll see they're quite common sense things. It's also interesting that this was the first film that used the Aldeburgh tool. It had been used in TV production before, but never on a feature film, and this was the first time it was used and was very successful. So why did Debbie come to ELSIF? Well, first of all, because it was difficult to find funding elsewhere, although she did have co-funding from private investors. There's not a huge amount of funding available. Her production was inherently regional. It was all about Benjamin Britten on Aldeburgh Beach. It was, slap bang in the east of England and couldn't be anywhere else. And the producers, in their own ethos, already supported low carbon principles. They would want to do it this way. So it was a natural step really for them to approach us and talk to us. And the benefits, having talked to Debbie, and we have talked to her quite a lot since the film was produced, her feedback to us was that what was helpful about having had funding from ELSIF, apart from the money itself, was that because the production was entitled as a low carbon film, everybody involved in the production was really on board. There was no question about whether this was a good idea to do things in a low carbon way. Everyone was really on board right from the start, so there was no argument, no dispute about that at all. Using the Albert tool and in talking to us and our colleagues, they were able to really quantify what the savings were. So they could really specify, you know, the business as usual, how they would normally have done things against the way they actually did do things in this instance. You could really quantify those. And they actually managed to achieve 50% carbon savings on the production as a whole, which is amazing, really, when you see the kind of things they were doing. And there were financial savings. I think very often people are worried that doing things in a low carbon way might cost more. It didn't cost more. It didn't make huge savings. I mean, over the whole budget, I think they saved about £3,000 by doing things this way. But it was a saving. The low carbon practices that they used were defined, and they've really been recognised by others in the industry. So we now have other producers of other film companies coming to us and saying, well, look, you know, what do we do? How do we do this? And we've got a case study. We can show them what was done and how successful it was. And now, following on from that, Peter Grimes has been produced, the film has been made, it's out on DVD now, you can buy it in the shops. And Debbie is now has a new production company that we're considering investing in, and probably will be investing in. Oh, that's not right. Stop. Right. So this is the film about what they did in a low carbon way, and I'll just try and fix it. Hang on. Right. Let's get back to the beginning. You can see I don't work in film. Okay, hopefully.
Innovation Fund was delighted to support a film of this type because it was so innovative, it was alternative content, it was supporting the work of Benjamin Britten, and also because the producers and crew were adopting the principles of the fund, that is to lower their carbon emissions through the practices during the making of the film, thinking about their carbon footprint, which typically and historically the industry hasn't done generally, I'd say.
We have used as many local people as possible within production. We're eating in local cafes and using local talent. We're surprised how many people around here can turn their hands to the various jobs that we need.
Yeah, my name's Eliza and I run the Thai Street Cafe just across opposite the beach, and we do the food for the film crew, for the Peter Grimes on the beach. I've got dogfish or rock eel and cod, but it's from Albi, from there, from the sea, and it's going into the woks over there. So no, not a very long journey. I'm going to make a green seafood curry. So, and I've got some bass as well that my friend caught with a line off the beach. So.
We have found that we have brought people here, but by train, by car sharing, as many people as possible has come in the trucks. We've used a local coach company to move people, and I'm driving a hybrid, which has been used to pick people up and to run people around so that they're not having to use their own cars. Thinking about green issues and environmental awareness has actually made me more efficient and more efficient financially as well. We haven't had to hire skips because we're recycling everything. We're using reusable water bottles, so we're not having to buy individual water bottles. We are not using as much paper because everything is going electronically with just a few things being printed off. We're using hard drives instead of tape, and quite honestly I found that actually it has reduced our costs.
The film was the first film to use the BAFTA Albert tool for measuring carbon footprints. It has been used for TV, but this was the first film to use it. So it's a fantastic opportunity to use that for film to measure the carbon footprint that typically might have happened if the film had been made using normal principles, and then furthermore to use the tool afterwards to measure the carbon footprint once the new ways of filmmaking have been implicated. So to sort of see the difference between the carbon footprint normally and the carbon footprint using these new practices.
We're trying to reduce our environmental impact by at least 25%, and we're hopeful that actually we will reduce it by more than that, and that we will have a zero landfill waste, so nothing is going to landfill and everything is being recycled. It can be recycled.
I think this is a fantastic opportunity to show the creative industries that, you know, this film has used these new practices within filmmaking, and they have managed to lower their carbon emissions, lower their carbon footprint, and we really hope that this can be rolled out across the creative industries as a whole, particularly film and TV, which hasn't used this in the past.
I would think about being low carbon friendly on my next production. It is a very interesting and efficient way of working.
Okay, so that was Anne Beresford that was just talking there. She was one of the co-producers along with Debbie Gray, and also my colleague Sam Burton, who's our main contact for creative industries companies to come and find out more about the fund. So, as I said, we've got, hang on, let's get rid of this one now. There we go. We have a pot of money waiting for creative industries companies to apply to. We've got a number in the pipeline that we're looking at, and we're always looking for more interesting companies to talk to us. What does the applying for the fund involve? Well, it's a fairly straightforward process. We have two routes to it, either the smaller investment scheme, which I said was between £25,000 and £75,000, and then the main fund, which is for larger projects between £75,000 and up to £750,000. Either way, you apply through the website. We'll then get in touch with you and talk to you a bit more about your project and ask for lots more information, things like a business plan, or generally, you know, information about what your company is doing, what it hopes to do, and some kind of projections of where that's going. We have an investment committee which is made up of a panel of experts that review all the companies that we put in front of them, and if they're happy with the proposal, which we normally make sure that they are, once the agreement is made, then the money is transferred quite quickly. Just to bear in mind that you do need to have some private co-investment alongside, but that can come from a number of different sources, so it's always worth talking to us about that. We also run an investment readiness programme. Many companies come to us at a really early stage. They might not have been through anything like this before, so we like to help people to prepare for that if they need to go out and talk to other investors. We run a series of workshops, and we give some help with business plans and getting your financials ready and that kind of thing. And we also run a series of webinars which you can join on to if you've got a spare half an hour on the day that we're running it. So they're all on our website. And what makes a good proposal? Well, we're looking for businesses with a growth potential. The SPV for the film project that I've just told you about was a one-off project, but it has got growth potential. It's run twice nationwide, and it's got DVD sales. So there will be a return on that investment that we've made, and the return comes back into the pot and then gets reinvested into new companies. So we're looking for businesses that have got some growth potential. We're looking for a strong management team, and sometimes that, you know, needs a bit of help or mentoring to if people are very new to that kind of thing, then we'll point them in the right direction for that. Good business plan, needs to be a good low carbon angle, investment ready. You've got to be prepared to sell shares in your company. We will be a shareholder in the business, but we're usually a very minority shareholder, and we certainly don't want to drive that business, but we want to stay involved and support it. And sometimes some companies need business support to grow further. So at the point of investment, that's not the end. It's like, you know, when you get married, the wedding day is not it. you have a long future ahead of you. The same thing with investment. If you have a business, you get the investment, great, now you can go and do those things that you plan to do, but sometimes you need help to do that. And we're always happy to accept applications on a kind of speculative basis. If you have a good idea, either give us a call or put an application in and we can talk to you about it. And it's not a sort of one-stop application. We're very happy to talk you through what we would need, what kind of information we would need following that. So that's me. Have a look at the website and give us a call, and we'll hopefully get some applications through from the creative industries. As I say, we've got quite a few in the pipeline, but we're always looking for more. So thank you.